All right, everybody, welcome back to what really is a special edition / episode of, what do you call it, THEMOVE Forward.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the way we have to do it. But.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hybrid between the move, since I do think we should, talk about cycling, talk about the classics, most, if not all of which at this point, in addition to the Tour of Italy, have been either postponed or canceled. That's unclear yet. And then just a show on the forward. I mean, or talk about how we as a society are going to move forward and trying to find ways to actually move forward. I think in this day and age, these days, it seems like it's funny, like being what do you call it? Just sort of quarantined. I mean, a day feels like a week, and 3 days feels like 3 months. I mean, it's. Not that, and then you throw in kids not in schools, parents going crazy.
Right.
I talked to the guys down at Mellow Johnny's, and you know what we're selling a ton of? Like we're out basically. Kids bikes.
Oh, really?
These parents,
that's the one thing they can do, because the
parents are like, all right, we got to
get them out of the house.
We got to get them out of the house.
That's good. That's good.
I do think it's good. I think we have to practice some responsibility. You don't want kids taking risks out in the streets and then having, and I think eventually,
just doing something.
If you played out the worst case scenario, you don't want to take a hospital bed from anybody if this thing keeps trending the way it's trended in Italy. So,
but not to get too deep or anything, but as a guy that's had to do a major reset in their life and decide to move forward, I think everyone worldwide's getting a reset of sorts, where they're kind of reevaluating themselves, their priorities, what was important to them. There's a lot of that going on.
100%. And not to keep people tuning in or listening in, because you don't have to do that. You can forward to the show if we're boring you to death. But I'm going to read an email. What I've been doing the last probably 10 days is just reaching out to the people that I sort of who I think are the smartest people that I know. I guess I know a lot of people, but I've just reached out to get their thoughts on whether it's the economy, whether it's our health, whether it's what to do and what not to do, or whether it's just like, what do you think? And so I've talked about Dan Buettner before in other shows. And for those of you all who are my friends, you know that I've become a huge fan of his. Dan is sort of coined the phrase, the blue zone. Right? The blue zones are these pockets of society that have the highest percentage of centenarians. So that's 100-year-olds, and they all have remarkably similar traits. And ultimately, or eventually, we'll do a show with Dan, and he can get into all of that. But I sent him a note this morning and said, well, what do you think? So I want to read, because you brought it up, it's really as a reset. I want to read his email. It's a pretty long one at the end of the show, and leave you all with that. But it really is. It's about a reset. So I'll save that for the end. Before we get into, I feel bad. Like, don't you feel weird? Like anytime you're like, I cough and kind of hack. Y'all that know me know that. Like,
right. And everyone always looks at you funny.
And like, if you're I was in the line the other day, and I was like, everyone's like, oh my God.
Right.
Everybody, literally, they were like, I was a pariah yet again. It was fucking crazy. Oh my God. I said I wasn't going to cuss. Somebody sent in, this is amazing. All y'all that listen to the show, and I was 100% sure I was not going to say any bad words today, but we got this awesome gift, the swear jar. Well, I know you bought it. Higgs bought it, but I was trying to act like somebody sent it in. So Higgs bought me this thing. This is unbelievable.
Where you found it, I don't know.
Well,
it's awesome.
And we've had a version of this for a couple of years. It was really just a jar, but this is a real one. But it takes it a step farther. So not only does it say the swear jar, so it goes on to say, swear freely and passionately at breakthroughs, setbacks, light bulbs, and shots in the dark. Have faith that your foul mouth will guide you from one idea to the next. And think of your contribution as less of a penance and more of a thank you offering to the goddess of profanity. Every coin brings you a step closer to complete fucking bliss. And then it goes on to give you the steps. Remember, swearing is caring. How to use this fucking jar. Number 1.
Another one.
Swear, curse, or cuss. Number 2. Pay a fine. Number 3, repeat steps 1 and 2. Number 4, empty when full. And finally, number 5, rejoice in the fruits of your foul mouth.
So here's the key, though. If we're going to have the swear jar, what's your pain threshold on that? Because if you're throwing ones in there, you're not going to care.
Well, it said coins. It said coins.
No, the kind that folds.
You know
not
what?
The kind that jingles.
I've chosen to not think about money. When Uber went from 40 to 14, I just stopped thinking about money. So I don't really, at this point, I don't care. Which is in a way kind of weirdly refreshing. But listen, before this is and I don't even know how to phrase this, but this is a non-revenue show. We've had, as you all who have followed the show for years know, we've been able to add some ad support and been able to cover our costs. And this is a free show for everybody. But what I wanted to do is just give a shout out. We've had a lot of requests and interest in ads, primarily for, obviously, the tour show is big, but also the Spring Classics, the Tour of Italy, Johann's shows, the Olympics, Tour of Spain, all of these shows. We've had tremendous interest in advertising. So I just wanted to, and again, this costs them nothing. I just wanted to give them a shout out for being loyal to us and certainly wanting to support us. And a lot of these we've talked about in the past, brands we know and love, brands we support, brands we think are they fit us, they fit our audience. And so I'll just go down the list here. The Feed, great concept idea out of Boulder, Colorado. They have an immunity pack. Go to thefeed.com/Corona. No, you're not going to get a 12-pack. You're going to get the immunity kit. Check that out. Roca Sunglasses right here in Austin, Texas. Great supporters. We were actually going to do the Milan-San Remo show there live. Unfortunately, that got postponed. So head over to roca.com for up to 30% off. PowerDot, our longtime supporters, also one of our investments over at Next Ventures. 25% off anybody listening right now. The discount code at PowerDot.com is PD25. For 25% off.
A great alternative when you're not going and getting massages.
Oh, you can. Yeah. I mean, if you're still hitting it hard and working out and I was thinking about this the other day because my back was killing me. I was like, I couldn't go to a chiropractor right now. It'd be so freaky, like laying on that table.
And a lot of people are upping their fitness right now as they're quarantined.
A little bit. As somebody observed, half of JB's here. We'll just start calling you J in the future. Or B, you can pick. Amp Human, our good friends at Amp Human, another investment over at Next. Great discount for them. The Move 25 over at amphuman.com. Another great company, Hammerhead, which is sort of I refer to as a next level cycling computer. People are like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, imagine if you had your old BlackBerry and all of a sudden, overnight, which took you 20 years, but overnight you had an iPhone 11.
Right.
That's the difference in the Hammerhead and other devices. High Brew Coffee, our loyal, longtime supporters right here out of Austin. Also, discount code, go to, it's actually on Amazon, I'm sorry. So High Brew Coffee on Amazon, the discount code is 20. Do you have?
No,
don't do that. You're freaking me out.
Totally fine.
Hybrid 20 stock up, 20 stock up, 20% off, 12 packs. Hey, here's a new one: Waterloo sparkling water, Waterloo water, right here in Austin, Texas.
Right down the road from where we are right now.
They're right here. Like literally, I could walk to their headquarters in, I don't know. I'm getting fitter, so maybe 90 seconds. Pretty awesome. They're killing it. They got 2 new flavors. They got blueberry and peach. This is strawberry. You're drinking black. What are you drinking? Black cherry?
Black cherry, yeah.
And then also longtime supporter, Road ID. Buy one, get one free. I'd never heard it called BOGO. Buy one, get one? BOGO?
I hadn't heard that either.
That's a new thing
Mark
for me.
Mark said it just a bit ago. I was like, I hadn't heard it.
Yeah, go to roadid.com/Lance for a BOGO. Buy one, get one. Huh. What do they think of next? Another company out of Austin, somebody we haven't worked with before but has been awfully supportive and wanted to come on is Spot Insurance. It's basically, if you think of Red Bull and GoPro meets insurance, that's what Spot is. All the people that are out there taking risks and pushing yourselves. Check it out. Go to lifebyspot.com.
Before we get into the state of cycling and all that, which is what people are interested in,
they are?
You did want to mention something you saw on a bike ride, which I I have no idea what you're talking about.
So I know you don't. I saw you shaking your head. So a couple of things happened last night. So the kids are, like I said, about Johnny. So I went down and got them a couple bikes at the shop because their bikes are in Aspen. And we're here. We're not going back. And so Anna's like, you got to get these kids out of the house. So we go pedaling around. And I was two things. One, I did first a loop with Olivia. We went down to Town Lake. There were so many people out.
I'd noticed, yeah.
And I had heard that people were sort of afraid to go down to Town Lake. And you could notice people really keeping their distance, which I think is great. But I also think it's great that people are just out. I mean, it was a beautiful night. It was probably low 80s. It just had a good feel. The sky was amazing. Just to get out with the kids and pedal around was awesome. I looped back and ended up doing sort of an extra love loop with Max. And we're coming back in. And I'm at this stoplight of what's basically Mopac and Windsor. And we're waiting for the light to turn green. And I keep hearing somebody ringing a bell. Almost like a bell lap at a criterium. You talked about a criterium. It's like a ding-a-ding, ding-a-ding-a-ding, ding-a-ding. And I was like, what is that noise? And it's kind of by a house over here. That light is red, so there's a van sitting there that's an electrical contractor. It's on the side of his van. He's an electrical. Ding-a-ding-a-ding, ding-a-ding-a-ding. Almost like an ice cream truck, I guess. I was like, that ain't an ice cream.
That would have been my first guess.
So our light goes green, and we pedal, and we're going to pedal right in front of him. Ding-a-ding-a-ding, ding-a-ding-a-ding. And the guy says out of the window, as soon as I get beside his window, he goes, toilet paper for sale. and I'm going, holy shit, I'll buy some toilet paper. I mean, I don't really know how this ultimately goes, but if you listen to the worst or the biggest conspiracy theorists, I mean, things like that, toilet paper, sanitizer, soap, all the essential food, martial law. And so this guy was going ding-a-ding, and this was I've never seen that in America. I mean, I could see that in a third world country.
It's funny that you were.
And it was like he was, I've had dudes like when you're in New York, some guy will see you and think you want some drugs or something.
Right.
You want some code name.
Right.
I'm good.
Right.
But ding-a-ding-a-ding, toilet paper for sale.
What's funny is you guys were on a bike ride, and every cyclist at some point wishes they could buy a roll of toilet paper because it got gnarly.
Well, and I had to do a check. I had my phone, and I don't have it in there now, but I had my credit card because I had been on a ride that morning. I had my credit card between the case and the phone. And I started to turn around. I was like, well, he's not going to take credit cards. But if I would have had cash,
you'd have stocked it.
I would have bought some toilet paper.
You'd have been juggling it on the way back.
I mean, I'd have been the man coming home with like 4 rolls of toilet paper for Anna. I mean, that's love. All right, let's get into what has just kind of gotten. I mean, it's totally surreal to me what's happened with this global pandemic. And I'll admit, I was for weeks. I was in the camp of, okay, this is overblown. This is a product.
That was too.
And a byproduct of the media, which loves these things.
Mm-hmm. They're in the scare business.
They're in the
That's what
scare
I've always
business.
said.
They love storms. They love fires. They love other natural events, natural disasters, famines, pandemics. And then there was, and something happened. I don't know if it was one of the days I woke up and Italy's death toll just went through the roof, and I thought, okay, I think this just got serious. And I basically changed my mind
when they closed their borders, basically.
Yeah, and only gotten worse. I mean, Darren McQuaid sent me a picture yesterday. Did I show you this picture? No. We can put it up later on. This is. And this is not a made-up picture. This is a real picture. And this was yesterday, so I've been living with sort of the reality or my new reality for about a week. This is outside his house in Italy.
Oh wow, the military.
Just military trucks lined
order.
Up.
Probably
military trucks now dealing with the heavy numbers of bodies. this is serious.
Not to do police action.
It's probably some of both, but
wow,
that is crazy.
Unreal.
Well, we'll put it up. Yeah, but it's so, with that, rightfully so, they canceled. The first news we got was Milan San Remo, Torino Adriatico. Then that goes.
Yeah, and at that time we thought we were just going to lose the races in Italy, and we would move on with the others. We thought we were
hopeful.
Right.
I mean, we like doing this. We like covering these races and talking to you guys and gals.
We were still hoping for Roubaix, Flanders, and
they shortened Paris-Nice. Then the dominoes start to fall. The Tour of Italy is postponed. Let's call it. Flanders, it's just, I think now we're up to ASO just canceled or postponed, their 3 races. So Roubaix, Flèche-Wallonne, and Liège. I think at this point we have to start to ask ourselves, will there, ourselves being you and me and everybody in this room, but our audience, our society, will there be a Tour de France in 2020?
Right.
And I have an interesting twist on that. Or will there be an Olympic Games in 2020?
Right.
And if there is, how do they go about that? Do they postpone them? Do they put them off a year? Let's play out a couple of scenarios. First of all, let's imagine we do the Tour in July. Let's say we get on top of this, which I don't think is likely. We do it in July, but nobody races until the Tour.
At first, it seemed like it was even coming proactively from team doctors and stuff like that. And the sense I got at that time was, okay, let's skip the classics so we can do the grand tours, And now it's out of their hands. Right, but that's where the focus was.
But I'm just talking about the dynamics of a race like the Tour, because we all know the riders use the races as training as much as they use the training as training. So, and we as fans use those early season races to figure out who the favorites are. We got a clean slate. We don't know anything. These guys that they have not been able to compare themselves to anybody else other than maybe they train with them. They go into the Tour having not raced, having not seen the competition, and we as fans haven't seen any of that either. Talk about a free-for-all. That would be, I got to say, be pretty badass. Now, I don't think that happens. Higgs, you bring up a good point. We then start to say, okay, July isn't going to work, but the Tour the Tour must go on, as the old saying says. How late can you postpone that, right? Then you start to ask yourself, if these guys are going 6,000-7,000 feet up in the mountains, how late in the year can you go and still go there? Right, you can't.
Oh yeah, you can't go to the end of the year.
God, no. Of course, I think, and again, it depends on the year, depends on the seasons they have, but or the weather they have. I think, and forgetting, even if they can logistically pull that off. I think you can't go past October. I think those places start to get. I guess you could plan it and perhaps shorten it or cancel it. It's just a whole lot of I don't know, we don't know, who knows. And so,
as of now, what is it? It's the March 20th. They haven't made any decisions on Olympics, which is still on everybody's mind. Every cyclist, that's still important to them. Even if there's no Tour de France, it's like, is the Olympics happening? Japan says it's still for now, and they've said they could move it to later in the year, I believe.
Yeah. I don't follow Japanese weather, but the scenario that I think is just mind-boggling is this idea of spectatorless Olympics. So you have athletes from all over the world. Most of those events, you probably wouldn't even know that there weren't spectators there. But imagine the 100-meter dash.
Right.
When you're in a stadium of 100,000 people, and before they fire the gun, that place is dead silent. That's what it's normally like. So imagine now you've got 8 guys, 8 gals, somebody with the starter pistol, and that's it. And we're all watching.
You don't even need a pistol. You can just snap your fingers.
Well, you could,
It's just be so quiet there.
Mark, get set, go. Whatever they do.
But yeah,
it's. It's all just so weird.
And some sports are more affected by the crowd response, like, basketball with the NCAA, the college tournaments here. One of the first ones to cancel, but much more affected by it. But did you see any of the finish lines at Perry-Nice?
Mm-mm.
You would see people out in the small villages getting outside and checking it out. Pretty good, decent number of people, but the finish lines, the barriers, once the barriers started, no one.
Yep. Well, I think that's smart. That's smart and responsible.
They still raced, and it looked good, but yeah, it's just not the same.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to just riding along with the audience and with the other fans. We don't have the answer, and I always wake up. I'm an optimist. I wake up every day going, surely I'm going to turn on CNN and they're going to announce that this bell curve or whatever they're calling it has truly started to flatten. I don't know.
Did you catch this part? And then I want to know what you would be doing if you were a current racer today facing this. But it was Italy and Spain, no riding bikes.
So the way I read it, and I think I got it, so in Spain, they cannot ride. They cannot go outside and ride. They have to ride on the trainer. Italy, if there's some documentation or something that they have, the pros
professionals can ride.
That proves that they're a professional. So they can go out, and if they get pulled over, they show the cops. But what I also read is as these guys and gals are out training, people are getting pissed. They just think it's Johnny Doe out there riding around for
they're getting yelled at for doing that.
What do you get it back inside? And obviously the guy yelling doesn't if it's sort of second level pro doesn't know that that's who it is or know that it's a professional athlete. But you asked me the question. I mean, if I lived in Italy, I'd have the letter. If I lived in Spain, I would find a way to get out of Spain.
Yeah, just to ride.
Yeah.
And
are you kidding me? You know me long enough.
I know.
Let's leave Lance Armstrong inside for a few months.
Oh, your family would kill you.
You think the pandemic was bad? You'd be praying for some coronavirus if you left me inside for 3 months.
Part of the cycling ban, as it was explained to me, is it's not about being outside and riding your bike is a healthy thing to do during all this. It's having an accident and needing to go to the emergency room and taking a bed.
Oh, I think
part of the reason.
I don't think America's there yet, or the United States, but Italy's there. I mean, I've seen Instagram clips of people saying, "Look, I'm going to choose to ride inside because if I go outside, especially on the road, and something happens, first of all, there may not be a hospital bed for me." And secondly, if there is one, I'm potentially taking it from somebody that really needs it. And so they're choosing to ride inside.
What if people are trying to maintain, obviously cyclists are going to try to maintain their fitness. And if they can get outside, they're not likely riding together as a team. So you lose that dynamic, I would assume. So what would you do? Motor pacing? Somebody with a mask on and riding behind a scooter?
If you just had to train?
If you had to train to be race ready when it came back. Like you said, the scenario of...
Well, motor pace, yeah, you have to simulate racing and race speeds. Higgs just sent me a note here. So I'm not a huge fan of this guy, this FDJ. I'm not a huge fan of FDJ. I think that's kind of a clown team. But this guy even calls himself a performance director. This guy Frederic Grappa, he's been around forever. I mean, this guy doesn't. You'd have to tell him that a bicycle has two wheels, but nonetheless, he says if some people can continue riding outside, we will have a 2-speed Tour de France. I mean, he's been saying 2-speed cycling for a long time, but it would be interesting. I think if you're in a place where you cannot go outside, I would just find somehow, if it were my job, I'd find a way to get someplace where I could ride outside safely, appropriately.
The roads are empty. It actually is a lot safer.
They're empty here.
I know.
College and I rode 3 yesterday. Hours, not minutes.
miles.
And there's nobody on the roads. And I will say, I'm starting here from We Do World headquarters, and I'm just getting straight to the bike path as much as I can. We've got the bike path out to Maine, as much as I can stay away from cars, and just I don't think we're there. As I said, I don't think we're there, but I don't want to get in the way of people that may really need the help.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bizarre being on the road right now. Probably, and I have to keep. This sounds stupid. I have to keep reminding myself that this is not our problem here. It's everywhere. I keep forgetting it's a global thing. Probably because, South by Southwest was the big first cancellation.
They look pretty smart now.
They do.
They got so much.
In hindsight,
the city got so much, but they look pretty smart right now.
Yeah, at the time, people were pretty upset. So I got to get out of my local brain because it isn't that at all.
This morning, the state of California Governor Newsom announced the entire state on lockdown. 40 million people.
Yeah. So elaborate a little more on that. What kind of stuff would you be doing to stay at that race level fitness? Because there's probably a lot of amateur racers listening who are trying to figure that out.
Listen, you know what's just, I guess, conveniently really taken off in the last 3 years is Zwift. I mean, you look at here's a company that's before this has just absolutely crushed it for the at home fitness, the connected, as they call it, the connected fitness market. But this is really, Peloton meets Serious Rider meets fitness meets esports, right? And so I suspect Zwift is seeing memberships through the roof at this point. I mean, I think actually real pros are doing that. I think they're getting on there.
I've seen it on socials.
Yeah. But then you get to this, and I read this the other day. I don't know if it's still on CNN. Like, what does it mean? What do they call it when you have to stay inside? They call it not you have to stay inside. They call it oh heck. What is it called? Higgs, you're the smart one. What do they call it when you? It's not a lockdown. It's a stay in place or. No,
there's another term. Let's see how long we can sit here until we figure out that term.
Tom Brady signs with the Buccaneers. What that? I don't get that. I think this is really getting off the subject.
I wouldn't mind hearing your thoughts on that. And what is he, 40?
I don't 41? care. He could be 51. He's 43, but he could be 53.
Okay.
And look, I like the Patriots enough, and I really like Brady, and I like the Krafts. I'm fairly close with Jonathan Kraft. I don't know how you let Tom Brady go. I don't care if he's 43 and his skills are diminishing or salary cap, all this bullshit. I don't see how. He is your team and will be forever.
Right. How
do you let him go anywhere, including the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I don't know why or how they didn't figure out a way. Give him a part of the team. Fuck it.
Right.
More money in there. You don't have to pay him. Give him. He's Tom Brady. He is your, I don't know.
Yeah, at this point, every step he takes is new history stats, new record stats. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
It's like when Nolan Ryan was older and pitching, and every game was more record books.
U.S.-Mexico border closing to non-essential travel. So it's serious.
Yeah.
It's serious. We still can't find the name of what it's. Shelter in place. So there are rules around shelter in place. It kind of is non-essential. You're allowed, because they've had shelter in place in 7 counties in Northern California. Lionel, my partner at Next, is one of those people living there. So you're allowed to go out and exercise if you keep the stated distance, 6 feet. So you go out for a ride, but you've got to be 6 feet apart. You can go for a run or a hike or a walk. He said he rode up the backside of Mount Tam, and he's never seen so many game wardens. Like they were stationed all along the way. Keep your distance. Keep your distance.
Oh, wow.
Crazy. Because they just have to know that people are going to go stir crazy, so they're going to be up doing that stuff.
Have you checked in with your buddy George, Mr. Hincapie? Has he been riding?
So George,
he's always
right. I'm really kind of fed up with this guy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's he trains all the time. I was just down in Mexico with him probably 10 days ago, and he absolutely kicked my ass. And I was and they were posting all these pictures on Instagram, and literally, I mean, it was like a light bulb moment for me. Literally every comment was talking about how fat I was.
You're getting body shamed on socials.
One guy says,
I'm sorry, I don't mean now I'm laughing.
One guy says, God dang, what was the word? He said, what did he say? He didn't say I looked fat, although I did look fat. I have to think of the word, but I could go look. But I was just like, oh my God. Not only did I go down there and get throttled by him and Julik and all these other local, and then I got body shamed. And then I came home and I was like, all right, fuck that. And then all this stuff hits. And I said, you know what? This is okay. The world is seemingly falling apart. I'm going to use this moment to double down more than I have in the last 7 or 8 years. And so, just cut back on all the bad stuff. Started getting back
all
on
the bad stuff.
Yeah. No booze.
Oh, come on.
No, yeah.
No margaritas. No Lanceritas.
No, not in 6 days, which for me is a long time. So that I'm just going.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
No wine. It didn't.
No alcohol.
Wow.
Don't I look like it? Yeah, I needed a drink after somebody tried to sell me toilet paper, and I just I had some sparkling. I had a Waterloo and watched Narcos.
Okay, I'm impressed.
What?
I'm impressed because a lot of people were doing the opposite at the big liquor stores. We have
liquor sales are doing good.
Stocking up. So, all right. Any other thoughts?
Let's jump into some questions.
Okay, let's do that. On a scale of 1 to 10, for those who don't know, you've spent a great deal of time, the majority of your time in Colorado. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you enjoy being a winter sports dude? And going through that winter lifestyle in a mountain town.
Winter of 2019 was about a 1.
Okay.
Winter of 2020 was about a 4.
Wow.
Just trending up.
Wow. It's an adjustment. I mean, I just was curious. All right, next question. Back in the height of your heavy training days, what was your go-to workout on the bike for increasing your power? And did you do any off-the-bike training to increase power, like free weight training or other types of cross training from Andrew? So my favorite, we did a lot of power work, a lot of big gear work, alternating big gear. And when I mean big gear, I'm talking cadence of 60 or even less on climbs. Always on climbs. Never. You don't, no need to do 60 RPMs on the flats unless you live in Miami, which you can do it there. Right. But on climbs, so alternating, really low cadence, so minute on, minute off, minute on, minute off. But really, my favorite kind of power workout, which is more specific to the time trial, but it was, to me, it kind of touched all the bases, was big gear power work on a time trial bike, climbing. So on a real climb, so you go find a traditional 6 to 8% climb on the TT bike in the bars. You'd stay in the bars.
You cannot get out of the bars. So every part of your being wanted to either get out of that position and get to your regular bars, or stand up, or stretch, or what. But you just literally force yourself to stay in that position for the whole climb. I mean, you talk about a game, because if you can do that over and over and over, you'll get to the time trial where it's flat, ideally, normally, and it's. I've never heard of anyone doing that, but I'm thinking of like our listeners going out and doing that, and some other cyclist sees him and goes, "Look at that idiot, time trialing up." Well, they could be doing the the super tuck. At least they're not doing the damn super tuck. Hey, here's a great question. And I hope you have an answer off the top of your head. It says, what races would you recommend that we watch as reruns on YouTube, since we can't see any live racing today? So here's Denise. Who? Denise. Great question. Denise, were you secretly on my ride yesterday with college? That was the discussion? Well, no. I had to, and college was just yakking. He was yakking, man. He was yakking hard yesterday, just wouldn't stop. And I had to cut him off because I had this great idea. So Denise, and this is an idea, and I want to roll this out because I haven't told you that. I told you I was going to tell you after we got off the air and kicked around some ideas, but I'll tell you right now, and I'll tell all y'all, and just tell me if this is a stupid idea, or what. And if you think it's an okay idea, then make suggestions on races that we can play with.
Okay.
So my idea yesterday was because we're not having any classics. But in my mind, as a kid growing up watching these and being a fan and being in a lot of these races for 10 or 15 years, like I remember some of these classics that were like, holy shit, that was epic. Even ones I wasn't in. And the one I go to right away is Andre Schmiel in the 1994 Paris-Roubaix, where it was snowing and raining and mud, and he's got no helmet on. I mean, this is before the generation of helmets, but it just looks like war. He's hopping curbs. Like it was like next level. So I think of things like that. You know, you think of
Andy Hampsten in the snow.
You could. I was thinking more of classics, but you could take it further out and do stages or Grand Tour stuff. But you know, you go. Pick a Museu performance at Flanders. Pick a Jalabert.
Yeah, I remember him. I think it's Roubaix. He was pointing at his leg that he had broke the year before.
Right, his knee.
His knee.
Yeah. So if we went, here's the idea. The idea, and let's have you all chime in. Let's pick 10 of these iconic classics that we all think about. And they will have been covered in French and Flemish and Spanish and Italian and in English and all these things. We'll go back. What if we went back, however we can find them, whether it's YouTube or we find the old videos, and we cover them. You, me, and George, maybe throw in Johan, and we call the race. Maybe not the whole race, but if it's an hour, whatever we can come up with, we call the race.
Wow. I know a bunch of those live on VHS tapes from cycling productions. Remember that?
Yeah.
you would go rent them from the bike shop.
What if we did that?
Yeah.
You'd have now the quality of them. Higgs and I looked up that 94 Roubaix. I mean, you'd have to bear with the video quality,
right.
As it lives on YouTube or on some VHS.
Yeah.
But I think it could be fun.
Yeah.
But it could be, if y'all think that's a stupid idea, then I'm fine.
No, I like it.
I didn't really ask you, but I was asking them. But if you think it's stupid too, that would be bad because you got to do it.
No, I tell you why I like it, because for a lot of people, they watch the Grand Tours, especially Tour de France. They weren't watching classics. They weren't familiar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how about we do Roubaix where George's fork cracks?
Yeah.
George will have to call that one himself.
That would be incredible.
But and the cool thing for me and for George is if you think of 93 probably until 2010, like when I talk about guys today in 2020, I don't know these guys. Honestly, I make up half the stuff, as you probably figured out. But if you go 93 to 2010, we know everything about those guys.
Right.
So it'd be great to like go back and Denise, I probably didn't even answer your question. I just started talking about what I thought was a good idea. But if we go back and cover them and tell stories about these guys that that were kind of our brothers in arms.
I love it.
Let us know.
I love it. You did mention Zwift and that, but this is a particular question about it. With Zwift being super popular now, and we're all stuck inside, one feature is that riders can super tuck going downhill over 37 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. Do you hate that too? That's from me.
No, I think, I think it could be a whole meme, a whole series of memes about you people on your indoor trainer on Zwift super tucking. If you want to do that, knock yourself out. You can do that all day long, full green light. Just don't do it on the road. Don't do it around me. Don't do it around anybody I love. Don't do it on a group ride. But if you want to do it on Zwift, man, get it.
Go. It's the safest place to do it.
Yeah. Have you seen all these memes? And not to get off the subject, but all these memes with this black guy that with the big unit, he's everywhere. I'm getting like 10 a day. This guy, he was in the porn business, and you've seen him because he's one of these ones where they show you like these little kitties and you're opening up and then all of a sudden, bam, it's him. And you're like, oh my God, well endowed playa. But the guy, and somebody went, I read it on one of these, on a credible, no, I read it on Vice. They went looking for this guy because I'm getting 10 memes a day about this dude. Poor guy's dead. The guy died in 2011.
Oh.
I mean,
How did we get on this?
Memes. somebody sent me one. He was on Mount Rushmore. This guy who played college football. So you don't know, but people listening know.
I don't usually end up on those group threads where they're all trying to outdo each other on shock.
Yeah.
Apparently you are.
No, I think people sitting at home. Yeah. People just firing off memes at each other.
This is from Wayne. Tell us what you're doing during this shutdown.
Well, Wayne, we're not. Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting time for other than just the obvious reasons. I mean, we were last week was supposed to be Luke's spring break from Rice, so he was coming up to Aspen. That obviously got shelved. This week was Max and Olivia's spring break from school in Aspen. We were going to go down to the Bahamas. That got shelved. So everything just gets canceled. We've canceled all travel, not going back to Aspen. Unfortunately, out of the gate, Aspen was sort of a hotbed for this virus.
And it's a population of what? I mean...
Well, but that's part of the problem.
Right.
I mean, we live in a cul-de-sac.
Right.
In the winter, it's a cul-de-sac. There's no way out. There's one road in, one road out. If we had a group of Australians come, not their fault. One of them had it, and it spread like wildfire in a little box canyon. And so town just gone. Everybody's just left, and there's not one plane at the airport. There's not. Wow. Everything's shut down, and so we're staying here, and just trying to make it work. And as I said a second ago, I was like, this feels like a good time to get two things: real healthy and real smart.
A lot of working out,
which is a low. The smart part is a low bar for me. The healthy part is a high bar. I started reading Ryan Holiday's book the other day.
Ah, there you go. Good for you. You usually just talk to the author. That's a great way around.
Could you just read to me, Malcolm? I don't really want to read Tipping Point. Do you mind just calling me and reading me the book?
You don't do books on tape though, or Audible.
No, but I've been listening to podcasts.
But you, oddly enough, I've been listening
to some other podcasts.
But when you have an interest, something you're interested, you just talk to the author. It's hilarious. I never realized that. Do you know? And I don't have a name with this. Sorry. Will the writers get paid during this non-writing season?
Yeah, they get. Yeah. We would have heard if they're not getting paid. I think those contracts. Well, it really starts at the top. But the title sponsor is contracted with the managing company. That's unless the title sponsor goes out of business or whatever. So that's secure. And then the writers' contracts are secured, but they're not going to get, for the time being, is prize money. So, right. But that's such a small part of our game, which is a problem.
Right.
It's stupid.
Isn't that weird to say?
It's just embarrassing.
Wow. Let's see.
First place prize money in the Tour de France is $500,000. 20 years ago, $500,000.
Yeah. Please, this is from.
Hang on, Higgs shoot me a note. What's going on? Astana's not paying their riders.
They said it was getting cleared up.
Ooh.
We've dealt with these Kazakhs before. They don't. That's. Fuck. I mean, they just make up the prank. They just make up the rules as they go along. That's. I did not read that. Is that new news, Higgs? A couple weeks. I guess I haven't been paying attention, but yeah, that's not surprising. I mean, we had that same problem in 2009, and that's when we went to the faded jerseys.
One last one.
That's it.
Let's see.
I like these.
Okay, I was going to ask Brian, so let's keep. We'll do two more. Please, this is Brian. Please do a podcast. I'm sure there's a lot of talk about the Tour de France, like who the lack of racing will benefit. Like will that happen? What are the top guys saying? How are they training? We did talk about that. But here's the good part of his question. Showing up without all the racing lead up, who does that benefit? Does a name come to mind? One or two?
It benefits anybody on Team Ineos. Whoever they pick to be the chosen one.
Because the team will be more important than
They're
ever.
just so they're so methodical, and you know they've had some desertion there. They've had people leave and go to other teams. Their lead trainer went to Bahrain, Meridia, so he knows the drill. So whoever's really scientific, really organized, really strategic about simulating races. I mean, there will be a tour of two speeds, assuming. But imagine they do it in September, okay?
Yeah. You know, I don't know if did you see any Pyrenees?
No,
You can be honest.
no,
Narrow Quintana looking really good.
no, and he won a bunch of races before
I
that.
think he only won 5 this season.
Well, and he goes to this small French team. I'm thinking, this poor guy. He's from some little village in Colombia. He going to be on the road with like 8 French dudes on a small, low budget team. Like, what? Yeah, he was winning. So, I don't, that you can win races like that on a small French team. You can't win big races like that. There's no way.
Let's see, from Eric. Would like your take on what effect the COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak will have on local races like Nevada City Bicycle Classic,
Great race. That's
Cascade
American
Cycling Classic, and others around the country.
Well, it's going to have, they canceled Redlands, which is another sort of American classic. You just told me that the local driveway series has been canceled or halted because USA Cycling won't insure these. Yeah, it's going to have George's Fondo. Even stuff that's not sanctioned. George's Fondo in Fort Worth was canceled or postponed.
That's supposed to be next weekend.
The Belgian Waffle Ride in Southern California postponed to November. Gives me time to get in shape. I sent it to George. I said, let's go, you little fucker. People calling me fat.
This is not the first time you've been shamed on social media, by the way.
No, but getting dropped, especially by Julik. Julik? All right, come on, buddy.
Well, they get to ride together in Greenville. He and George all the time. They got high-level training buddies.
I kind of remember the word the one guy called me. It was just so. It kind of put me over.
Were you struggling to keep up with college? He's pretty fit.
No, I don't have any problem with college.
Just checking.
I got no problem with college at all.
Are you looking something up?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Let me see if there's. Oh, here. This will be the last one, and we'll have to kind of, paraphrase this and keep.
Well, one guy, Sergio, says El Jefe looking a little heavy. One guy says, did Lance Armstrong ever take a pull? One guy says, take a pull, bro. Then one guy even just sucks up to George, says, Big George looking fit AF. Look at this guy. Lance also has a belly. Not only the only one, ha. This guy, just like the old days, Lance sits in until the last 5K. Next person. These are good.
This is on one thread.
This is one thread. I'm telling you, this shit changed my life. You thought cancer and a fall from grace changed my life? You wait till you see what I do. Look at this one.
Oh boy.
When the boss becomes the old car. This is this is like reading the mean tweets on that whatever Kimmel or whatever. Okay, here we go. I think, quote, the boss is a little over his training weight.
Damn.
Lance Aretas for everyone, this person says. Jesus Christ. Hang on, I'm going to find the one.
There's one that really got you.
Yeah, I'm going to find it. Geez, Lance still isn't pulling, this guy says. This guy, again, just sucking up to George. Good to see you in your usual spot, pulling Lance Armstrong along. Oh, my God. Another guy still pulling Lance Armstrong. I'm telling you, people. Hang on.
Can I see the photo? Find the wine.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on, but I'm gonna find the one line.
Somebody got under your skin.
I know. Please hold. We can edit this out too. So much. Oh, here we go.
Oh boy.
This guy, Lance, looking prosperous. I mean, let me tell you something. In whatever your name is, I'm gonna call you out, Ruben. Okay, Ruben, you're an entrepreneur. He's a philosopher and an adventurer. Ruben.
Oh boy.
I'm just telling you. And I could not help myself. I commented.
You did.
I
you
said,
probably don't do that very often.
And I'd said it to George and to Bobby. And I said, give me a week and y'all be getting dropped. #fact. I'm just telling you, JB, this was next. This was, but you know, I got to give it to all these people bagging on me. I looked fat. That's not good. Watch. Ooh, that one's actually not so bad. Hang on. I'm just not looking good, bro.
Ooh.
Yeah. So prosperous. Lance looking prosperous. I mean, normally that's like a compliment.
Yeah.
But I know what you meant, Ruben.
Ruben, dude.
Taken to heart.
Wow.
Man.
Let's just do a shirt. It says Ruben. He's the motivator. Coach Ruben.
Sitting on the wheel. Oh, there you are. Pulling him along like always. You're on the wheel.
On that note, I think we
I want to read.
up.
No, I want to read you my email.
All right.
I want to leave everybody with this because I think it's, and again, just to refresh your memory. So I've just tried to ask a lot of people about what they think. Like, what are we in store for? Nobody has a crystal ball. So everybody's guessing what happens with this pandemic, what happens with the economy. I think the economy long term is potentially a much bigger issue in terms of unemployment and all of, I mean, they're real things. I think the mental, and I've heard a lot of, I've been listening to public radio when I've been out exercising, which I never do, but I've been doing. The mental health fallout of this. I mean, you keep people, 40 million Californians this morning have to stay inside. Dude, the ripple of the mental health / fallout / PTSD from that is going to be tremendous. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see a whole bunch of babies being made. We're going to see a whole bunch of divorces, and we're going to see a whole bunch of combos of those two. Yeah.
Right. No, there are some people that just need the social aspect. You know, my wife's one of them. I'm like, I'm okay. I'm doing pretty darn good. But yeah, some people are freaking out. They're not used to being in a house full of kids all day.
Right.
They're used to being in a work environment, and it's just driving them bonkers.
Well, imagine if they do have to work. What if your kids weren't in school? All these things you take for granted. Your kids are in school. They're safe. They're secure. They're being fed. They're being educated. That's not happening. And mom and dad, or mom or dad, or however, whatever that combination is, actually has, now a lot of people can work from home. But if you got to go to work, what happens? What do you do with that kid?
Right.
Or kids?
Right.
I mean, this is all stuff that this is real world stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been asking all these people, what do you think? And this morning, I mentioned earlier, and I'll say it again, I've just gotten to be a huge fan of Dan Buettner. I saw him speak at my buddy's 50th birthday, and I'd known some people that knew Dan. And so Dan's main theme, his life's work is what he calls the blue zone. So he goes around the world and finds, and I've talked about this on various shows, but finds these pockets of civilization around the world that have the blue zones are the places that have the highest percentage of centenarians, so 100-year-olds, right? So as he goes around the little peninsula in Costa Rica, Sardinia, Loma Linda, California, Okinawa, Japan, a few others. What are the similarities between all these places? And there's a lot. They're literally almost 90% similar. Everywhere from the diet that they eat and drink. There's no strict rules here, by the way. They don't have any hard and fast rules in and around alcohol, meat, chicken, fish. It's primarily plant-based just because that's where they live. They all live in places where there's a physical, to sort of live your life, it requires a physical effort. If you get to the bakery, you have to walk uphill. If you want bread, they make the bread. They have gardens. The number one determining factor for death, in his view, anywhere in the world is loneliness. So here in America, when somebody gets to be 80 or 90 and it's kind of slowing down, we put them in a home.
And they've outlived all their friends.
All alone. They've got no friends. Family comes once a week. Hey, grandma, how you doing? Kiss on the cheek. In these places, those people, the 100-year-olds, they're the king or the queen. They are heralded. They live on the top floor. Everybody bows to them. So it's just, anyways, he's if you ever get a chance to see him speak or just go online and look at some of his stuff or read his books, the dude, I'd follow him into any conflict.
And the name of the book again?
The Blue Zones. He's written a bunch of books. He's written a diet book or a cookbook around the Blue Zones. His cover for National Geographic on the Blue Zones was the second best-selling edition ever. I don't know what was number one. So I say to him this morning, I was like, well, shit.
Sure.
What do you make of all the madness? He says, well, like most hardships, this will materialize as a blessing in the rearview mirror. I work with 51 cities throughout America and am of the firm belief that Americans are too busy working, mostly to buy shit they really don't need and chasing a fairy tale of a happier tomorrow. This implosion will force people to slow down, focus on their families, and take stock of their lives. Yes, lots of people will have lost their jobs, and it will be tough in the short run. But according to Gallup, 70% of Americans, they don't like their jobs anyways. This crisis gives us a chance to reboot. About 70% of our chronic disease crisis here in America, 71% of Americans are obese or overweight. 85% of our annual $3.7 trillion healthcare bill is driven by our toxic food environment. The average American eats out 110 times a year, each time consuming an extra 300 salt/sugar/fat-laden calories that had they eaten at home would not be there. This lockdown affords people the chance to learn how to cook again, and it might just ease some of the health burden. The Japanese character for crisis is an amalgam of hardship and opportunity. There will likely be a year or two of uncomfortable change and some hardship. But you and I, Lance, we both have great capacity to endure hardship, and for us, we'll be able to see and seize the opportunity. And even for people who will suffer more than us, I think they'll find that they can make chicken sandwiches out of what now seems like Corona chicken shit. Stay healthy.
Wow.
So that's, and I mean, it's all about the reboot, you know, and I think we all got a choice. Being forced to make a choice. And so this has been fun. Let us know if we want to roll out a couple more of these. We all just sitting around. I mean,
I do like the idea of watching some classics and talking about it. I think that would be a blast.
I have one more idea, but I'll tell you that off air.
Okay.
Because that has to do with a tour, assuming there ever is a tour.
All right.
This year. But yeah, let us know if this was fun for y'all. We'll just keep jamming and again, stay healthy, everybody. This is there are all these guidelines. Like it sounds corny, like wash your hands, keep your distance. That is going to work. That is going to be there are very few tests. There is no vaccine, and there's no treatment right now. So it's like just do the simple things, right? I mean, I know that's what we've done. So
if you have ideas for what you might like us to do during this time, like because people are starved for a connection. If you have some stuff, some ideas of what you'd like to hear or comments, themoveitwedo.team.
Perfect. All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.